There comes a moment in life when a thinking mind stops accepting answers that begin with "just believe." Bertrand Russell reached that moment long before most people dare to. He was surrounded by traditions, churches, sermons, and scriptures, yet none of them satisfied his hunger for truth. He once said, "If something is true, it must stand the test of reason." That simple sentence became the foundation of one of the most powerful essays in modern thought, "Why I Am Not a Christian." In that essay, Russell did not mock religion, he questioned it. And questioning for him was the most sacred act a human mind could perform. He believed that truth should never fear inquiry. His purpose was not to destroy faith, but to free thought from blind obedience. He began by asking a basic question: what does it mean to call oneself a Christian? Many people, he said, use the label without knowing what it truly implies. Some mean a person who tries to live morally. Others mean someone who believes in God and immortality. But Russell pointed out that morality and belief in God are not uniquely Christian. Many non-religious people live moral lives, and belief in a higher power exists in countless traditions outside Christianity. So what exactly makes someone a Christian? He concluded that to be a Christian, one must believe two main things: that there is a God who created and governs the world, and that Jesus Christ was his Son and the wisest of men. Russell calmly examined these claims one by one. The first claim, that God exists, had been defended by philosophers and theologians for centuries. He reviewed their arguments, not with hostility, but with precision. He started with the first cause argument, the idea that everything in the universe must have a cause, so there must be a first cause, which is God. At first glance, it seems reasonable, but Russell asked the obvious question. If everything must have a cause, then who caused God? If God can exist without a cause, then perhaps the universe itself can exist without one. This simple but powerful logic exposes the flaw in the argument. He said, there is no reason to assume that the universe must have had a beginning. Next came the natural law argument, that the universe follows laws, and laws require a lawgiver. Russell explained that what we call laws of nature are not commands, they are descriptions of how things behave. When we say that planets move according to gravity, we are not saying they obey an order. We are simply describing the observed pattern. The laws are not imposed, they are discovered. Then he addressed the design argument, the idea that the world looks so perfectly designed that there must be a designer. Russell disagreed. He looked at the world honestly, not at its beauty, but at its brutality. If the world was designed, then who designed parasites that eat their hosts alive? Who designed earthquakes that destroy entire cities? Who designed diseases that kill children? The natural world, he said, is a mixture of order and chaos, beauty and cruelty. It reflects no moral intention, only the indifferent workings of nature. Evolution, he argued, explains complexity without needing divine design. He also tackled the moral argument, the claim that morality proves God's existence. People often say, without God, how can we tell right from wrong? Russell saw this as a misunderstanding of morality. He believed that moral values come from human empathy, not divine command. When we help others, it is not because a higher being tells us to, but because we feel their suffering. He said that if goodness depends on fear of punishment or hope of reward, then it is not true goodness. Real morality comes from compassion, not obedience. After rejecting these philosophical arguments, Russell turned to the figure of Jesus. He admired Jesus as a man of kindness and moral courage, but he questioned the claim of divinity. Russell said that while Jesus taught valuable moral lessons, some of his ideas were not perfect. He pointed to passages about eternal punishment, the idea of hell. Russell could not accept that a truly compassionate teacher would threaten eternal suffering for disbelief. To him, that doctrine reflected fear, not love. Russell also argued that moral wisdom is not limited to one figure or religion. Confucius, Buddha, Socrates, and many others taught ethical principles long before Christianity existed. Morality, he said, is a product of human evolution, shaped by empathy, reason, and the desire for coexistence. He then discussed how religion often discourages questioning. He saw faith as a barrier to progress. In the past, religion silenced scientific voices, punished new ideas, and condemned curiosity as sin. Russell gave examples from history: the trial of Galileo, the persecution of heretics, and the long centuries where science was forced to serve theology instead of truth. He believed that knowledge grows only when people are free to doubt. Russell's rejection of Christianity was not based on rebellion or bitterness. It was based on evidence and honesty. He said that the universe does not show signs of a moral plan. Earthquakes do not discriminate between good and evil. Diseases strike the innocent and guilty alike. If there is a God controlling everything, then his moral purpose is impossible to understand. But if nature simply follows cause and effect, everything becomes clear. He saw human life as a brief spark in the vast cosmic darkness, and that realization did not depress him. It liberated him. It made every act of kindness, every moment of beauty, every expression of love more meaningful because they are temporary and self-created. He said that people often seek comfort in religion because they fear death, but he found peace in accepting it. Death, to him, was not an enemy. It was simply the end of consciousness. And if we make the most of our limited time, we need no eternity to give it meaning. To illustrate his ideas, think of how we now explain lightning. Centuries ago, people thought lightning was the anger of gods. Today, we know it is a natural electrical discharge. The mystery did not disappear. It became more beautiful once we understood it. Russell believed the same applies to life itself. When we replace myths with understanding, the world becomes not less magical, but more real, more profound. He also warned that religion often replaces compassion with judgment. Instead of helping others here and now, people focus on saving souls for the next world. He said that if humans put the same energy into reducing poverty, injustice, and ignorance that they put into preaching, the world would already be a paradise. Russell's essay was written in 1927, but its logic feels timeless. It continues to influence scientists, humanists, and free thinkers across the world. He did not ask people to abandon their faith. He asked them to think, to reason, to ask questions. His message was simple: truth has nothing to fear from inquiry. Even today, when people quote him, they often recall his quiet courage. He was not angry at believers. He was disappointed by the human tendency to choose comfort over truth. He believed that maturity means facing reality without illusions. As he once said, "We must build our lives on the firm foundation of knowledge and reason, not on shifting sands of belief." In the end, Russell's essay was not about rejecting God. It was about rejecting certainty without proof. It was about defending the human right to question everything, even the sacred. For him, the noblest human act was to think freely, guided by reason, compassion, and honesty. And that is why he was not a Christian, not because he hated religion, but because he loved truth more.